What's up, Alabama fans? This is Brandon, aka Fresh of Touchdown Alabama magazine. I got to jump back on here. I know it's been a minute since I have been with y'all doing videos, but I'm jumping back in, guys, because I got to start, especially before the season starts. All right. So y'all know how I do it. Before we get this video started, run my likes up, hit that like button, smash that like button. I need 1,000 on this one, guys, because y'all know I already know what the rules are. I don't do nothing for free. All right. So my admission is the likes, price of admission. So go ahead and do that. Make sure you comment as well, because I got a lot to drop on this subject. All right. So there was a lot of recruiting news that dropped over the weekend, last week, late in the week, actually, with one decommitment in Elliott Washington, 4-star DB. And then the big news, Peter Woods from right up the street, Thompson High School in Alabaster, 5-star defensive end, was right next to Jeremiah Alexander, or on the opposite side of Jeremiah Alexander, who the Tide was able to snag last year in the last recruiting class, who has been looking really good in the spring, possibly will be getting some playing time for the Tide this year. And Peter Woods was supposed to be the next one up. You know, Dad went to Alabama. His mother was from Tuscaloosa. So all of the signs were pointing towards him going to Alabama. But Mr. Woods, P. Woo to be exact, had other plans. So after what appeared to be an extremely long commitment interview, I didn't watch the whole thing, but it seemed like it was taking forever. But that's neither here nor there. Mr. Woods decided to take his talents to Death Valley in Clemson with Dabo Swinney. And that didn't sit well with a lot of Alabama fans. And a lot of them were calling for Freddie Roach's head, saying, oh, he needs to be fired. And, you know, we put a piece out, you know, telling Alabama fans, you might need to pump the brakes just a tad on that. It's not as if Freddie Roach has not been getting recruits for defensive line, as well as other top recruits. Let's not forget that he was the lead recruiter for Tony Mitchell, who is another 5-star in-state prospect. So again, make sure you just don't, you know, jump over the ledge there. However, Peter Woods was supposed to be the next one in line, and he made some interesting comments when asked about, I guess, the reasons why he chose Clemson over Alabama. He had Jackson State in there. I don't think anybody truly, you know, felt that that was actually something he would do. It's good that Coach Prime, Deion Sanders, is getting top-notch recruits to even consider and put that program on the map as an HBCU. Much respect to him. However, as it relates to Alabama and Nick Saban, the comment that Peter Woods made that got the internet in an uproar, at least the Alabama Twitter in an uproar, and our guy Stephen M. Smith put a perspective piece out, just asking the question, you know, based on what Peter Woods mentioned. And this is exactly what Peter Woods said, you know, and I'm reading this pretty much word for word. So he was asked this question, and he says, Dabo, not Coach Swinney, I just want to throw that out, but Dabo, to me, is a lot more lively and a lot more understanding of teenage life. And he says all the time he specializes in 18 to 24-year-old men. And I really believe that's true. Interesting. So let me back up just for a second. I'm going to dissect this comment in just a moment. So I'm going to answer this question myself from what Stephen Smith put out about, is Nick Saban out of touch with today's recruits? No. And I believe that was the conclusion that Stephen came to as well. But with this quote, is definitely worth mentioning. And, you know, you have people who have their opinion, a lot of people who decide to read headlines without reading articles. And, you know, the intellectual level of those individuals, it is, you know, it is what it is. I'm not going to go into a whole long video on that. However, the short answer that I gave is Nick Saban out of touch. Nick Saban has been who he's been probably for the last 40 years, if not longer. You got to understand, especially for the younger generation, once a man reaches a certain point, he's not going to change. Will he evolve? Absolutely. And I think Nick Saban has done an exceptional job of evolving with the times. Does that mean that his core values and his core of who he is that going to change? No. He's going to remain who he is. He's going to have those high expectations. He's going to tell you straight up, this is what we do. This is the process of how things are done in Alabama. And those things will not be altered. Now, you can make your choice however you want to. But if you come to Alabama, these are the expectations. You're going to be expected to do this. Whatever X, Y, and Z is, he's going to lay that out in front of you. Is he going to jump up and start dancing in front of you and, boogieing like Dabo does? No. Nick Saban is not for everybody. Just like Dabo Swinney is not for everybody. Urban Meyer is not for everybody. Kirby Smart's not for everybody. Whoever the coach is, everybody picks and chooses based on whatever they feel. Alabama's not for everybody. So the 5 stars that Alabama fans may feel that Alabama should be getting, they're not going to always get every last one of them. It's just not going to happen. It will never happen. Alabama, for the past 2-3 recruiting classes, has gotten 6, 7, almost 8 recruiting 5-star players. I mean, it's just what it is. So you're going to have your hits and you have your misses, and this at this present time appears to be a miss. Does that mean that it's completely over? No, because once you have someone who is right down the street from Nick Saban and company, he's not going to stop recruiting this guy. Do I see him flipping? I don't know. I'm going to have to ask and defer that to Justin Smith, but I don't think that this recruiting battle is over. But let me touch and dive back into what Peter Wood said about the differences between, or the reason why he chose Clemson and Dabo Swinney over Nick Saban. And is he a lot more lively? Yeah. Depending on what your definition is, I'm thinking that he's meaning in terms of how he may connect in that way. He's definitely, if you've ever just, observed Dabo Swinney, he's more quick to celebrate and jump up and down and be, overly, celebratory with his players than what a Nick Saban does. That's just not his thing. Definitely a lot more reserved when it comes to those manners. Definitely a lot more stern when it comes to how he goes about his business. He says he's a lot more understanding of teenage life. And that one is a very interesting statement from Mr. Woods, because my first question is, well, how can you decipher that based on either track record? I'd say both of them understand teenage life to a certain extent. Nick Saban had, 2 children, so he definitely would understand teenage life. He's coached hundreds of players over his tenure, so that who were teenagers at one point, and whether it's from Toledo, Michigan State, LSU, and Alabama, he's obviously been around hundreds of teenagers throughout his career, and understands what teenagers in this day and age and how they operate and what their tendencies are and what they may need versus how they were 30 years ago when he first started coaching in college athletics. So I think that Nick Saban has a very good understanding of what it is to be a teenager and what is necessary and what's needed for teenagers in today's game. So I think that one kind of struck me a little bit in his first statement, in this whole quote that he mentioned. Then he says that Dabo Swinney says all the time that he specializes in 18 to 24-year-old men. So Nick Saban doesn't. Now again, I'm not going to rag on a high school kid. He hasn't even graduated yet. All right, so I'm only dissecting the statement, not necessarily what Peter Woods is saying and whether he's right or wrong. That's his opinion, and he has every right to believe however he wants to believe. I'm only stating this, and I'm going to talk specifically about whether or not this is an actual thing. So Nick Saban, again, has been coaching college athletics for over 30 years, whether it's been as a assistant or as a head coach. So he has just as much of a specialty as any coach in the United States of America, in the world. And you can argue whether he has that specialty more than anyone. Again, that's all debatable. I'm not saying that he's the number one in terms of how he specializes or whatever, but he definitely has a specialty in 18 to 24-year-old men, and that is a proven track record. If you just watch a lot of the Alabama players who eventually have graduated and what they're doing now currently, it speaks volumes to the process that Nick Saban and his staff have put together throughout all of his years. And I think that, again, it speaks volumes to what the message that he preaches and the things that they put in place while he is at Alabama. So to say that one is better than the other, or one specializes, or one is a better or more effective for teenagers, or almost to infer that Dabo Swinney is more in tune with today's teenagers, I would say that is not fully accurate. I would not say that if someone were to ask me. He's just different. You know, what cup of tea do you like? Some people like their tea sweetened. Some people don't like sweet tea at all. Some people like their coffee with cream and sugar. Some people like it black. However you want to say which one is one, that's up for you to decide. But that's essentially what you're going to get with any coach. If you're choosing the school because of the coach, if that is something that is a big thing for you, again, Nick Saban is not always going to be everybody's cup of tea. Dabo Swinney is not going to be everybody's cup of tea. Kirby Smart, Brian Kelly, whomever the coach is, everybody's going to choose based on how they feel. And this is truly how Peter Woods feels. More power to him. If he decides to change his mind, more power to him then. But do I believe that Nick Saban is out of touch? Absolutely not. I think Nick Saban has shown a wonderful ability to adjust, to adapt, and to evolve with the times since he's been at Alabama especially, and that has been proven with how he has been still receiving these top-notch athletes and the success that has followed that as well. So that's all I have for you. If you agree or disagree, definitely leave a comment. Remember, we're trying to run this thing up to 1,000 likes. Hit that like button. You hear my voice right now, smash it. You're going to be hearing from me a lot more. If I don't get 1,000, I may not do another video for another month or so. All right, I'm probably joking on that one, but still, make sure you smash that like button. Make sure you're following us on all of our other social channels: Twitter, TD Alabama Mag, Instagram, TD Alabama Mag. Also, make sure you run that TikTok up. We're about to get started on TikTok. We do have a TikTok page, TD Alabama Mag as well. Make sure you are following us on TikTok as well. Like us on Facebook. Subscribe to our website, TD Alabama Mag as well. Get yourself a subscription. We have a dual issue that is about to come out later on in the fall, a double issue actually, recruiting plus preseason issue. You definitely don't want to make sure you miss that one, so go ahead and subscribe to that as well. This is Brandon, aka Fresh, and I'm signing off.